and welcome to my channel. I'm Amanda and we are here with Sketchbook Chat, and this time we are drawing some plants. I decided to draw plants because I felt like it and they were on my Pinterest and I was like, I need to draw plants, so let's do that. Remember and comment below and subscribe and all that fun stuff, and hit the notification bell as well so you get notified of all my videos. And so today's topic is, should you be using expensive pro art supplies? That's a big title. I'm going to have to figure that one out. But I decided to do the voiceover for this before I've drawn it because I only have limited time to voice over things. So if you have any topics of art things or just life in general or anything that you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments below. I don't know whether you want to talk about more or less like just art stuff, or you would like to talk about other stuff too. Because I'm open to talk about anything. Sorry, I forgot to take my tablet this morning, so I'm taking it now. What? Pro videos. This is what you get on this channel, is pro videos. So just give me a second. Okay. So I'm just going to get right into this. A lot of people wonder if it's worth using expensive art supplies, and a lot of people are sad if they can't get art supplies, so I want to address it. A lot of people have talked about it before, but this is just my opinion. If you don't agree with it, then don't come at me, bro. Just just take it with a grain of salt, okay? So if you are selling art or want to keep the art for a long time, then you're going to want to use high-end supplies, because they are light fast, they are good quality, and they will save you time. They will last a long time. That's what life fast means, is that they will last a long time, they won't fade as much, and the customer will be happier with their purchase. Cheaper supplies can be really hard to use, and you could end up fighting against them, like the paper tearing up or watercolour paints not layering properly, and brushes shredding. I hate the brushes shedding. Like they shed into your painting and you've got to pick them out, and it's just so annoying and it's just not worth your time. It's just a pure waste of time sometimes. But I have a different opinion about practicing with cheap art supplies. You can, but in my opinion, I like to use the higher end supplies because they act completely different from the cheaper supplies. So if you're serious about art, not just wanting to sell them, but you really like it as a hobby and you want to invest your money in that, then I would say go for not the high end supplies, but just higher end supplies, so that you can practice with the supplies that you want to be using in the future. Because the art supplies that are cheaper, especially like the kiddie brands or the really dirt cheap student grade brands, are not the best, and they will probably maybe even discourage you from art. Because I did use really cheap supplies back in the day, especially paper. If you're going to invest in anything, I would say invest in paper first, because I was fighting against printer paper, against like really cheap watercolour paper, and it was just tearing up on me and I hated it, and I just gave up on all the mediums that I loved because I just couldn't work with the paper and it was horrible. So learning with higher end supplies lets you learn how to use them to the best of their ability, which in turn just makes it a better experience. Like, if you're using cheaper art supplies, it does slow you down, and it doesn't really help that much. But if you just want to play and have a hobby or like an art journal or whatever, and you never want to show your art off, or even if you do want to show your art off, I mean, that's fine. You can use cheaper supplies, and there are cheaper brands out there that are of good quality, like Winsor & Newton Cotman range, for example. They're cheaper. They're not the cheapest, but they are cheaper and they are really high quality, and you will be happy with your purchases if you buy those. If you don't care about keeping your art, like I said, for years, and you don't want to sell things, then yes, student and kids brands will do. it's just my opinion that part of the enjoyment comes from being able to look back on old art and it looks exactly the same as it did when I made it. Which is true for other things. Like I said, I've used cheap supplies before, and I have looked back on my supplies, on my paintings or on my drawings, and they've looked exactly the same as they have when I've done them. That's mainly because I keep them in a dark cupboard and don't take them out that much. But if you want to hang them on your walls or whatever, and you want them to look exactly the same, then the expensive route is for you. And there are ways that you can save up or buy expensive art supplies without spending too much money. There's like discounted websites like pullingers.com. That's where I get most of my expensive art supplies, and I also get them from Amazon because they're cheaper as well. So yeah, you could also buy cheaper alternatives. More expensive doesn't always mean better or best quality or right for you. For example, Faber-Castell are less expensive than Caran d'Ache luminance, but they are still classed as professional and will last a long time. So you can try and find different brands that are classed as art supplies that are going to last a long time, light, fast art supplies, or more expensive professional art supplies, but they don't have to be as expensive as other brands. Copics, for example, they are the most expensive markers, but there are alternatives out there that are just as high quality or just a little less high quality, but they still will do, like Spectrum Noir and stuff like that. So it's all fine. All I'm saying is that you need to experiment and decide what is best for you. That's the important thing. If you continue to just use everything that other people are saying, you might never be happy with the supplies that you have. That's why I never believe in reviews. I do reviews on this channel occasionally, but when I watch reviews, I think, okay, if they think it's good, then I'll buy it. If they think it's bad, I will probably still buy it because I want to see if it's good or bad for myself, because other people have different opinions on what's good and bad. So if somebody picked up a pencil and was like, oh my god, this is rubbish. Faber-Castell Polychromos, for example, those are my favourite pencils for detailing, layering and blending. But a lot of people, well, not so much blending, but a lot of people don't like them because they're used to Prismacolor, which are soft and creamy, and they're a different type of pencil. Prismacolor are wax based, and Faber-Castell Polychromos are oil based, so they act completely different on the paper, but they are both good supplies to use. Prismacolor are dirt cheap for US citizens, but they're not for for UK citizens like me. So I prefer Faber-Castell because they give off a lot of detail and you can get really stunning artwork with them, but a lot of people don't like them because they think, oh, they can't layer properly, or they're not as good because they don't blend as much. But if you learn how to use them properly, then they can be your next favourite art supply. Copic markers, for example. I am not a marker gal. I don't like markers as much as a lot of other people do. I don't mind them, but I just can't use them properly, and I think it's a lot to do with the fact that I don't have that many colours to blend with. I bought a set, well, not even a set, but like a bunch of single Copic markers, and I think I've got like 95 of them or something, and they're just sitting there wasting away. Like, maybe I should do a giveaway with Copic markers because they are just sitting on my table. Half of them are dried out and I don't want to buy refills for them because they're too expensive for me, and I just don't think that they are the best. I don't think that I can use them properly, and you've got to get special paper for them, and they are very much geared towards people that like more cartoony artwork, I think. I like Spectrum Noir ones because they're juicier and they work nicely on tone tan paper. So do Copic markers, but I just think that they're less expensive, but they still have the refillable ink, they still have the refillable replaceable tips and all that stuff as well. So you just need to shop around and see what's best for you. And if you prefer using Reeves watercolour paints for the rest of your life with some decent-ish quality art watercolour paper, then that's fine. Do not let people say you can't use art supplies like this, or you have to use this. Use whatever you want, whatever suits you, but I would advise not to try and sell artwork that has been done with Crayola unless you have found like a magical sealant that can stop them from fading forever and ever and ever. So that's just my opinion on that. I hope that helps. I'm trying to keep these videos to 10 minutes because, you know, whatever. But if the topic goes on longer than that, then that's fine. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed whatever I drew today in my sketchbook. Please remember to check out all the other videos. Sketchbook chat videos come every single Wednesday if you want to check those out. And remember to comment below any of your opinions on this subject, what you think about expensive versus cheap art supplies, and stuff like that. Share the video and hit the notification bell, subscribe, all that stuff. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.